So yes, we've got to talk about the new nerfs that are coming up here that were recently discovered, and we've got a new warning about the Season 5 PTR straight from Blizzard. Also, is this class right now being completely neglected? We've got to talk about it. We're going to talk about world bosses, the in-game bosses, and disabling this feature for a lot of players is making the experience so much better. And yes, some players have discovered some truly unique Ubers and weapons throughout their journey. So we're going to talk about that. But yeah, take a look at this right here. And by the way, check this out. Bloodline Heroes of Lithis has some awesome content coming up as a part of their 2nd anniversary celebration event that you don't want to miss out on, including a gift pack worth $120. This is one of their biggest events yet, and a huge thanks to them for sponsoring this video. Now, if you've never heard of Bloodline Heroes of Lithis, you can actually marry 2 bloodlines together, which can result in over 1,000 possible fantasy hybrids that inherit the traits and physical features of their parents passed down from each family tree and fused into one. You can even create variations of orcs, demons, demigods, dwarves, and everything in between, and collect new fantasy characters that are released every fortnight. So join me now and download Bloodline Heroes of Lithis for free by clicking my link in the description below, or scan the QR code on the screen and receive an amazing anniversary gift pack worth $120 when you use my link. And Bloodlines Heroes of Lithis also features impressive visuals, a well-crafted story campaign, and yes, even an online PvP multiplayer with new guild war on brand new maps. Conquer territories with your guild members and claim rewards to create the most unique hybrid champions called Bloodcraft Legends. And don't forget about the 2nd anniversary celebration event, which runs from June 20th to June 27th. And during the event, players who have been active for 14 days or more and log back in will receive 1 mythic level champion, 5 3-star champion tokens, 30 summoning crystals, and 41-hour bonus gold chests. Also celebrate the 2nd anniversary event with the powerful light goddess Luxus with the exclusive skin Radiant Luxus that will be available during the event. And don't forget to participate in the Radius Luxus event as well, which features strategic battles in Arbiter's Arena. And finally, convoke with star cards and earn additional rewards through the Convoking Scope event, and check out the Torch Lighting event with other players to celebrate the 2nd anniversary with spectacular fireworks displays. So join me now and download Bloodline Heroes of Lithis for free on both Android and iOS by clicking my link in the description below, or scan the QR code on the screen and receive an amazing anniversary gift pack worth $120 using my link, or return rewards worth $250 if you've been inactive for over 14 days. And the first 30 players to leave their in-game account ID and username in the first pinned comment section below will receive a free legendary female succubus champion, the Luxuriant, one of the best mages to carry you in the game, as well as Shoten, one of the best warriors in the game. And finally, check out the official payment center and make any top-ups with up to 20% off. And again, huge thanks to Bloodline for supporting my channel and sponsoring this video. So what about that warning from Blizzard? Let's take a look here. So it says this: if you already have the Season 4 PTR client on Battle.net, I wouldn't delete that, so you can just update straight into Season 5 public test realm. Just a tip. So whatever you do, if you have that already installed, leave it untouched. Do not delete it. And there was some confusion about what's going on with the 50 uniques and legendaries. Specifically this right here. It says, guys, where are the 50 uniques you mentioned in the patch notes? I see only 1 per class. And Adam Fletcher clarifies, hold up, we said 50 uniques and legendaries. We did not say 50 uniques only. And also, I believe they did state in the live stream that includes the powers that are coming to Season 5 as well. All right, so we got to talk about some nerfs that were discovered and dissected from the recent patch notes that are coming up here and being released alongside Season 5. So check it out right here. It says this: Sorcerer's Patch Notes, an in-depth analysis. Good afternoon, fellow mages. I'm glad to hear that the Blizzard team is focusing on bringing a pleasant balance to all the classes in the game. Let's check in on these changes. I sense some sarcasm here. It says Sever, primary damage increased from 80 to 110%. Blight damage over time increased from 105% to 35%. Blood Wave damage increased from 150% to 450%. Things are looking really, really good there for the Necromancer. But they go on to point out this right here. This is what we love to see: our fellow magical Necromancers receiving significant buffs that can bring underused skills to the light of the meta at last. I can't wait to see the significant sorceress buffs. It says this charged bolts, base damage increased from 30 to 38%. Okay. Spark base damage per hit increased from 10 to 12%, and so on and so forth. You can see that there's some buffs overall. And it says, oh, these buffs seem a bit timid, even more so for a PTR patch, which is the time to test strong things and nerf them without damaging players' builds. Are we going to have an unannounced PvP championship soon? It sounds a bit strange when we had nerfs in the beta of the game where we went up to level 25, where they nerfed Hydra from 30% of its base damage, changing it up to 12%. But hey, positive side, right? We're now at 16% with a few more patches. I'm sure Hydra can be a viable build as it was in the beta, but I'm sure I'm the only one seeing the downside. We must have some significant buff hidden away here. He points out crackling energy base damage has been increased from 20 to 30%. Okay, so it says, look at that. That's not so bad. That's a 50% increase in damage. The crackling energy build that was never viable may finally be a reality, but it goes on to point out ceaseless conduit crackling energy damage reduced from 3% per 20 intelligence to 1% per 25 intelligence, and now caps at 60%. And what? But crackling energy has never been strong, so why are they doing this? And I know a lot of you guys really want to play Sorcerer, and there's several problems that the Sorcerer faces right now. First and foremost is, yes, it's not brought up to par with some of the most powerful abilities in the game on other classes. And also, I think a lot of people want to play as a male sorcerer as well, and there's just outfits that do not cater to a, more masculine male type sorcerer, and I still think that is somewhat of a problem as well. It would be cool if they adjusted that in the future, because I still to this day see complaints about that one for sure, because you want to build the character out the way you want to build them. And he brings up the point that Firebolt was strong, right? But doesn't that hurt the other builds that were already weak, like Incinerate, Meteor, and Firewall? He points out Elemental Summoner now caps its damage bonus at 30%. I guess if I wanted a summoning build, I should play Necro, right? And then we have Teleport, cooldown increased from 11 to 14. Ice Armor no longer gains increased shield based on damage. Flame Shield cooldown begins when invulnerability ends. And it's like, I'm just done. So you can see here, a lot of frustration around how they are handling the balancing of this class in particular. There was a comment here as well. It says, the developer in charge of sorcerer adjustments is horrible at math. Change my mind. And it just seems like this definitely does need to be revisited during this PTR. They need to be making specific adjustments to the sorcerer going forward. I've just been hearing this since practically day one about the sorcerer, that it's underwhelming. So I think Blizzard really needs to sit down and go, hey, we need to get serious about the sorcerer. And I think hopefully they could do that. Since they take feedback season over season, it would be nice if they could get something significant done by season 7 at the latest for the sorcerer. At least that's what I'm saying. And also some frustrations around this right here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to kind of paraphrase it for you guys, as there's a huge problem for players who are new to trading. And he goes on to point out, if you try to get into trading like he did, it's very difficult getting into trading because it's so extremely competitive in that regard. You might go in there saying, oh my God, I have a lot of gold, like 75 million gold. And then you find out that you're always getting outbid. And the thing is, a lot of people want an in-game auction house, in-game trading to be more viable. And that is basically the big complaint right here. And we have a reply about this as well. Check it out. It says this: the third-party websites are crap, and it's shameful that a billion-dollar company still hasn't implemented social features such as looking for group or an auction house in an online-only multiplayer game. We had better social features during WoW Classic. It seems like right now this is kind of something that is on the back burner for Blizzard. They're focused very much right now on getting, Season 5 out, and then ultimately Season 6, and the big one, the expansion. The looking for group for me is probably the bigger of the two, by the way. So looking for group would be very, very cool. Anyways, we got to talk about world bosses. So world bosses were marketed as a large part of the game when Diablo 4 news first broke. It says this: it makes no sense if they die in 5 seconds. The idea that it spawns every 4 hours If you show up for 10 seconds late, then you miss the fight. Makes it so dumb to me personally. I'd recommend letting people queue with a chosen difficulty based on a prior clear. I really do think that Blizzard's probably sitting around going, yeah, this is an issue. How do we adjust world bosses? I've had so many ideas previously. I'm pretty sure you guys remember. I think it would be cool to have something like the Profane Mine Cage that can, affect world bosses. Like he said here, difficulties, even a tier system. I think it would be cool to incorporate a horde mode around a world boss as well. They could do a lot of cool stuff where the world boss continues to spawn in more and more enemies as you go. So it's not just you facing off against a world boss. You have to manage waves of enemies on top of it. That would be very interesting, and I think would make world bosses really, really cool. They could do a lot with world bosses, so I hope that they do revisit it. But it is so ridiculous going into world bosses and seeing it die within like half a second. I'm like, wow. And it's weird because the dev team worked on these world bosses with animations, attack patterns, that sort of thing. So I'm kind of like, wow, it's a bummer not to be able to face off against these huge monstrosities. It's supposed to be like a really, really big event. But mentioning bosses, it seems like some people are happy about this at the very least. Bosses can now be resummoned after killing in Season 5. A lot of people are celebrating that this is a big win. This is probably the thing I'm most excited about for the next season. So yeah, at least there's good news when it comes to some things that they have adjusted with Season 5. And a lot of the other classes are getting some very, very cool buffs. So it's not all like doom and gloom for sure. There's definitely a lot of cool stuff, and I cannot wait for the actual wave mode. You're probably wondering, hey, Robbie, you mentioned disabling a feature in the game that makes it so much better. Well, according to this post, that is true, and there were some responses that agreed with it. Check it out. Try this out. It says, disabling combat text and damage numbers is actually amazing. I knew this feature existed for a while, but never gave it a try. Was getting tired of staring at blotches of illegible numbers everywhere and eventually turned them off. It's a night and day difference. The game immediately became so much less visually cluttered and much easier on the eyes. I have no idea why I hadn't tried it until now. I'd encourage everybody to give it a go. Yeah, I really want to try this myself. Part of me is torn because I feel like it's extremely rewarding seeing all those numbers going off. But at the same time, I really do want to see the artwork and the art style. So I'm going to give it a go and see how it works. Let me know if you guys are running the game like this or not. I'm curious to see how many of you are actually going to embrace this. But yeah, some really cool discoveries and some things going on here around what players are doing with their classes and their builds. Check it out. It says, just hit 640,000 HP on my Thorns Barbarian. I posted a few weeks ago. I hit 300k. I figured hitting 600k was worth another post. I'm still running Thorns. Still haven't looked at any guides. I'm able to blast through Pit 101 in about 3 minutes. It might not be as flashy as Bash Barb, but it's so much cheaper. Damn, look at those numbers. That is insanely impressive. So yeah, mentioning numbers, you have that right there. But yeah, also it says, had this drop today. I'm so happy this dropped from the pit boss. Sold it for 45 billion. The question is, would you guys keep it or would you really sell it? But he got a ton of gold. He is set for the foreseeable future. But check out this bow right here. Best bow I've ever seen for Heart Seeker. It is good, isn't it? He goes on to say, and you can see here, it is ridiculous. Look at the vulnerable damage on that. I have to say, one of my favorite stats in the game is vulnerable damage, even though Blizzard is kind of like trying to go away from it as much as possible, or at least try to balance it even more as the game goes on. But yeah, to see that, I am extremely jealous for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and go over your top comments from my previous Diablo 4 video. Remember, I love reading your guys' comments, so be sure to post a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video, so let's do this. We have this one right here. I can't wait for Season 5. The game is getting better and better. Yes, I'm one of the few that is loving the game. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are actually enjoying this game. I think that people are a little bit apprehensive about some of the nerfs coming up for Season 5. But overall, right now, at the very least, Season 5 is looking like a win before we head into the PTR. It seems like Blizzard is very serious about taking feedback from their community, which I appreciate. I mean, they're sitting down in their streams, talking practically almost like one-on-one with their community, which I really, really do appreciate now. Also, we have can't wait for the next season of Diablo. Hope it's as good as Season 4. Hell yes, it's looking really, really nice. Looking forward to Season 8. And then we have this one. Really like the unique changes. Like, I get they don't want people to have a static unique set to farm for and stop for whatever, poorly worded, but I think you understand. But as it is, aside from a few crucial build effects used both vastly and insatiable on my druid, they are much weaker and bland stat-wise. Like, we're giving up our agency to alter on the fly when a build depends on a unique. They should at least be good. Yeah, there's that, and then also the tempering issue. The tempering issue is also an ongoing thing where people are bricking, well, almost like their builds in a way, I guess you would say, if tempering goes wrong. And then we have Infernal Hordes. Anyone else play Godfall? And then we have Dragon, who says this right here. I wonder if you can get, let's say, 5 of the same uniques, and this unique can have different temper on each one, or will the temper always be the same? Good question indeed. But anyway, there it is. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more Diablo 4 news and updates. I have you guys covered, but thank you again, and I will see you all next time. Take care.